On a Tuesday talking Titans because they made a move yesterday to make them a better football team. That was trading for former Chargers cornerback, defensive back Desmond King for a 6th-round pick. And that trade checks 2 boxes for Titans GM Jon Robinson. We'll discuss the impact of the trade for Desmond King, what he can bring to the Titans, who he reminds us of, a lot of different conversation about Desmond King. What's one word to describe how you feel about the Titans trading for Desmond King? Because yesterday's show after the loss to Cincinnati was a lot about the Titans defense not being talented enough, Jonathan Joseph not being good enough to play football for this team. And Desmond King will help out some of the issues the Titans have defensively. So we'll lead off with Desmond King. Zach also has one thing to watch for as Desmond King joins the Titans. And the timeline will be interesting, as Mike Vrabel said, with the COVID protocol, maybe Saturday just for his first practice, but we'll be on Zoom meetings throughout this week. Then we'll talk about A.J. Brown. I've got proof that A.J. Brown hasn't gotten close to reaching his ceiling as an NFL wide receiver. And then today is Tuesday, which means Takes Too Long trivia on this Tuesday as a unit, as a show, which includes you guys, the audience. 71.1%, Zach. We cannot have another 7-3 day. We've got to go 8-2 with our Takes Too Long trivia at the end of every Tuesday. Zach, welcome in. Hope you're having a good start to your day.
Yeah, happy Tuesday to everybody else. We're going to talk Titans today because of what they did yesterday, as Austin said, made the trade to improve their football team because their football team wasn't playing very well. And they had lost 2 straight after going 5-0, but had some massive holes, and hopefully Desmond King can come in there and relieve Jonathan Joseph of some playing time, as we talked about. Bottom right corner of your screen before we get started officially, those 3 little dots, you can share the broadcast that way. Please share the broadcast. We need to pop up in your Twitter followers timeline, retweet us, and help us out in that aspect. Also, what's going on Twitch, what's going on YouTube, and what's going on Facebook. More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes, and as you guys do, got a lot to discuss on today's show, but as you pile in, please share the show, share the broadcast. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed, and how that works out, bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. That is share now to public. Sharing is caring, and let's get this party started.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports. You like our Facebook page at A to Z Sports Nashville. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. You got to thank our sponsors because they make it all happen. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville area. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the pulse of fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5 hours plus in the weight room. Mandu.com, your first workout is free. The Tucker Agency, saving you money on your personal insurance. TuckerTN.com and CalvinandSettle.com for your new Brentwood hardwood floors and finishings. CalvinandSettle.com and the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. BoneandJointTN.org. So before we dive into this Desmond King trade, we have to finish some business that went unfinished yesterday on the show, and that was the Derrick Henry rushing yard hat giveaway. Because I did all the work Sunday night / Monday morning on finding who correctly predicted Derrick Henry's rushing yard total against the Bengals for a hat. We had a bunch of 117 picks, Zach, but we had one winner. And that winner, with correctly predicting 112 rushing yards for Derrick Henry against the Bengals and a free A to Z hat, is Bobby Dingman. Bobby Dingman is the hat winner. Congrats to Bobby. We will reach out to you and get your shipping info so we can send you that hat. So we had several guys close 5 yards away, but congrats to Bobby correctly predicting Derrick Henry's rushing yards. So there you go, Bobby. All right, Zach. Desmond King traded to the Titans for a 6th-round pick. What did you think about it when the news broke yesterday right at noon?
Well, I thought even before that, right before our show ended, you actually brought this up on the show that the Chargers were putting Desmond King on the trade block. And so it gave another top tier, I don't want to say top, but top tier cornerback that was going to be on the market that could move places. And so that, and as we find out, and we'll talk a little bit more about the asking price of Stephon Gilmore and what the Patriots value him as, this I think makes a lot of sense for the Titans. And it all worked out, right? The stars aligned for Desmond King to come to Tennessee. They needed a cornerback. Jonathan Joseph couldn't play 12 yards off the ball anymore. Jon Robinson knew that. Mike Vrabel knew that. I mean, Mike Vrabel all but said that about the defensive coordinator, saying that's not the issue. It's the players, insinuating that it was the players, that it wasn't the defensive coordinator. But they needed to get better. They needed to get new players, and they're waiting Adoree Jackson to come back. They're waiting Christian Fulton to come back, and they got a really tough schedule. You know, the Bears are on the horizon this week, and then you go through the rigors of Colts, Ravens, Colts, then Browns. So they made a move, and the stars aligned because of the 6th round. Kamale Correa was unhappy. He got out of Dodge and went to Jacksonville. Good luck with that. The Titans got a 6th-round pick from that. They also had another 6th-round pick and also had another 6th-round pick. So they had draft capital to move. It just depended on what the Chargers were willing. Now, it's an expiring contract, right? So you don't want to give up a lot because he's only going to be on your team guaranteed for the least the rest of this year.
Right, 9 games.
There's no more after that. You're going to have to re-sign him to a contract. So, but maybe, and these things have happened before, maybe Desmond King comes in here, enjoys his time here, has success, competes for a possible championship, goes to the playoffs, unlike the Chargers have done, even though he went a couple years ago when Phillip Rivers lost in the AFC Championship game to the New England Patriots. So this is a really good deal for the Titans because I think they get a younger player that can help them right away in a position of need.
Yeah, Diner Orsini tweeted this morning after speaking with a few GMs around the NFL. I've learned multiple teams who have called about Stephon Gilmore. The Patriots were told by New England they want a 1st-round pick and a player in exchange for last year's NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and which I could just quote tweeted with Desmond King for a 6th-rounder is greater than that. Because Desmond King is 25 years old. Stephon Gilmore is 31 years old. Desmond King only counting $1.1 million on the salary cap this year for the Titans, where Stephon Gilmore would basically eat up all of Jon Robinson's remaining cap space, which is a little bit in between $7 and $8 million on that. And Stephon Gilmore would have next year on the books as well. Stephon Gilmore is a better and different player than Desmond King. Stephon Gilmore is an outside corner who thrives in man coverage. Desmond King is an inside nickel corner who's really good at kind of playing that Logan Ryan role. And I looked at this, Zach. I went back because I remember Desmond King coming out of Iowa. That dude was getting interceptions nonstop at 3 years as a starter at Iowa for the Hawkeyes back in the day. Here is from WalterFootball.com, the strengths of Desmond King's pre-draft scouting report. Excellent instincts, not a gambler, superb in zone coverage, dangerous threat to produce interceptions, good tackler, willing run defender, open field tackler, gritty, competitor, overachiever, special teams, dangerous returner, very experienced, should be able to contribute quickly. Those things all sound like former Titans corner Logan Ryan, minus the return aspect, which people brought up.
Safety last night, got his bell rung because he was coming up and hitting fools.
Right, but Logan Ryan now 30 years old, Stephon Gilmore 31 years old, Desmond King is 25, and I think a couple things that I look at, I see open field tackling, gritty defender, and competitor and overachiever. And I'm thinking that's what the Titans need in their defensive back room right now, because Jonathan Joseph is not any of those things at this point in his career where he's 36 years old. So, Zach, I think with this trade, Jon Robinson checked 2 boxes with Desmond King. He upgraded his roster immediately in season with a team that he feels has a shot at a championship, and he did not trade away any future implications of salary cap or draft capital. Like he did a good job at not risking the future to fix the now. He did both. You had 3 6th-round draft picks. You had a hole that you had to address in your defense, and he was able to not mortgage a 2nd or 1st-round draft pick for Stephon Gilmore. He did not also give up cap space where you can still be able to go out there and sign Jonnu Smith, Jayon Brown. So you have the ability to keep your high draft capital and keep your salary cap for the future. Those 2 important boxes Jon Robinson was able to check off here with the Desmond King trade.
And the biggest thing, and Jon Robinson has been active. I mean, he was active on day one as a general manager in the first several weeks of him becoming GM of this team in the DeMarco Murray trade. I mean, he is a wheeler and dealer, but this is the first big trade he's made at the deadline, right? I mean, this is he knew that the Titans had problems. They had lost 2 games prior to this, and timing is everything, right? Timing's very, very important, not only about Desmond King getting on the football field, but also the return of Adoree Jackson and Christian Fulton, because we've talked about it, and Titans fans probably feel the same way. They probably they don't have a 62% third down conversion rate if Desmond King, Fulton, and Adoree Jackson are on the football field. I just don't think that I think that percentage goes down, which is that has to happen because it is a league and all-time worst since 1991. Okay, and so that I think is the positive to this. Is as you get later on in the year and you have must-win games as the playoffs get closer, you get King to adapt, you get Adoree to come back and get his legs back under him because he hasn't played in 8 weeks, and you hopefully get Christian Fulton, your 2nd-round pick, who, mind you, was ball hawking. I mean, he was making plays with interceptions, with fumbles. Christian Fulton was having a nice rookie year before he went down with a knee injury.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Tuesday reacting to the Desmond King trade. We're going to get you guys more involved. Kernick says he's a better, younger Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan's a damn good football player. He's absolutely better than Logan Ryan is right now because Desmond King's 25, Logan Ryan's 30. But Logan Ryan did a lot of great things for this defense. Easy says Beasley and Clowney hurt J-Rob's salary cap big time. Yes, but those 2 guys also are only 1-year deals, so it's not really affecting the future. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and I want to say one thing about Logan Ryan. The Titans came in inside Logan Ryan for a 3-year, $30 million deal, $10 million every year. He got hurt in year 2 after playing in New York late in the season after playing some of his best football. First year, I think he had to adapt a little bit. But by the end, I think if you sign a cornerback for 3 years and $30 million, I think they got everything that they needed out of Logan Ryan, and they weren't willing to pay for more years. So that was a smart decision on Jon Robinson, and maybe they can parlay Desmond King, if this does work out, into another corner contract.
Yeah.
Because Malcolm Butler, who has played better, I mean, he has played well. I don't want to discredit that, but he costs a lot of money. And so they're going to have to make some decisions at the end of the year. But right now, the Titans got better today than they were yesterday morning.
Jacob asked, Logan Ryan was the Titans' best pass rusher. How is that a part of King's game? Mike Vrabel mentioned that specifically yesterday, that Desmond King is disruptive and is a good blitzer, and he's a good tackler. So he fits that Logan Ryan mold there too. And in the last game that Desmond King played for the Chargers, which was 2 weeks ago, because they kept him out Sunday because they knew they were going to trade him, he had a sack. So Desmond King, more sacks than Vic Beasley and more sacks than Jadeveon Clowney, and a lot less games and snaps than either of those 2 guys have. So Desmond King is a guy who's a versatile piece and can also help you out in the punt return game because he was 2nd-team All-Pro punt returner back in 2018 when he was 1st-team All-Pro as a defensive back. So, Zach, let's do this. We like this because we like to gauge how you guys feel about things. What's one word to describe how you feel about the Titans trading for Desmond King? What is one word to describe how you feel about the Titans trading for Desmond King for a 6th-round draft pick? But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. That injury in life is probably going to happen. That's just kind of how it goes. But when it does happen, make sure you get the best care possible at the Bone and Joint Institute. They take care of you from the beginning of the process all the way through the testing, the surgery, the rehab, all right there in Franklin, boneandjointtn.org.
Yep, I tweaked my shoulder last night. The Bone and Joint is where I would go. I'm going to loosen it up for next week, but I got to monitor this thing.
I don't know what happened about last night, but I tweaked my back last night. So we didn't know this because we don't talk about things during the show, but I guess both of us playing banged up this morning.
A to Z on the mend.
Yeah.
Well, you can get right with mybookie.ag, code MyTitans. This is special right for our listening audience. Go to mybookie.ag, use code MyTitans, and double your first deposit. You put in $200, you actually get to play with $400. You put in $20, you get to pay with $40. That's the best part. Use MyTitans as the promo code at mybookie.ag. Also, I'm going to read some comments because the question is, what's one word to describe how you feel about the Titans trading for Desmond King yesterday prior to the trade deadline? I'm very proud of my answer, and I haven't read anybody's answer. I'm going to see if anybody gets my word because I think this is the perfect word to answer this question. So let's go through some comments. Kirby says a steal. Card says relieved. Alan says happy. Better from Joshua. Thankful from Kirby. Cautious from Titans for Life. Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers comes in with better. Renaud says contender. Alex says better. Scoop says needed. Jason says better. Satisfied from Joshua. Value from Cody. Unsure from Mookie. Deborah says unchanged. I will have to see it to believe it. Larry says excited. Cautious again. We got a ton of comments coming in. Relieved from Christopher. Covered from Blake. Trevor says improved. Ken says relieved. Robbie 04806963 says progression with a lot of numbers coming into there. Let's see. So that's 2 words, but we'll let Gregory pass there. Hawks, talking, I assume, about ball hawks from Tanner. Impressed coming from Steve. Thankful from Jeff. So nobody has guessed my word.
I've got my favorite answer so far from Donald Bell. He says blockbuster as in rental because he views Desmond King as a rental. I thought that was very clever there too. That was my favorite answer. Not my answer. So Zach, I'll let you go first and then I'll give mine.
So my answer for this football team, where it is after losing 2 games back-to-back, one to the best team in the AFC, the other one to the Bungles, and Joe Burrow, who made you look like a fool on 3rd down. Essential. That's my word, because the definition of essential is absolutely necessary, extremely important. The Titans were not going to go anywhere if they didn't make this move because their secondary was atrocious. It wasn't just bad. It was atrocious. It had holes larger than Swiss cheese. I mean, Jonathan Joseph, unacceptable. The fact that these quarterbacks, they were playing so far off the ball, 3rd down percentage was 61. It was 66 this past weekend. This move was essential for this football team. That is my word.
My word, Zach, is awareness. It's the awareness to go out there and fix the problem and being aware of your issues that are the corners.
But let me stop you there. How can you not be aware?
Well, I wasn't finished with my answer. So, I mean, you cut me off, so that's fine.
How can you not be aware?
Can I finish my answer?
Okay. How can you not be aware?
Zach, let me finish my answer, and then you can come with a follow-up question if you want to. That's how follow-up questions work. It's answered and then
you tell me about follow-up questions from last week, big guy. You could.
That's how follow-up questions work. Okay, the awareness, because what does the Desmond King move actually not do? The Desmond King trade does not get Jonathan Joseph off the field until Adoree Jackson comes back. That's when Jonathan Joseph's off the field. So trading for Stephon Gilmore would give up way too much in draft capital and in cap space. The awareness comes into how do you fix this defense? Because you need 2 pieces to come in to fix the secondary. Adoree Jackson and a proven nickel. Adoree Jackson playing on the outside with Malcolm Butler on the outside is where Jonathan Joseph goes to the bench, and Desmond King in the nickel is where you fix the problems that you have. So Stephon Gilmore would have been sexy. It would have been awesome. Fans would have been all jacked up and excited about it. But I think the combination of the return of Adoree Jackson and then the trade for Desmond King to fit him in the slot, that's the awareness of how to make your football team better in playing chess and not just going out there and being a Madden GM. So that's why I bring my awareness answer. So now you can follow up with a question.
But they have that information that everybody doesn't have, right? What is the status of Adoree Jackson? What is the status of Ty Smith, right? That's maybe something that they know interior because the injury report didn't tell you a damn thing. So I'll ask you this. Do you think that Jonathan Joseph will play against the Chicago Bears?
I do think Jonathan Joseph will play against the Bears.
Then they in trouble.
So yeah. And so people are bringing up about asking questions about Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson has to be activated to the 53-man roster by the end of the week. That does not mean that he has to play on Sunday against Chicago. He just has to be on the 53-man roster. He can still be inactive, but he has to be on the roster, and he will be on the roster. They're not going to let that thing slide. They'll get him ready to be on the roster. Coin flip if he plays or not. If he does play, now that's where Jonathan Joseph is out. But they're not going to let Adoree Jackson. You have 3 weeks to bring your guy back.
Come back and just let him play all snaps.
Right. So yes, Jonathan Joseph is probably going to play in Chicago because Desmond King will most likely not be in the building until Saturday, but he will be able to be on Zoom meetings throughout the week, which is good. And going back off of that pre-draft profile, Desmond King's a smart football player, very instinctive. Can he learn via Zoom, or is he a guy that needs to be on the field to learn and pick up things? This is his 4th year in the NFL, so it's not like he's young, spry chicken. He at least knows what he's doing, and he is a smart player. So I do think Desmond King has a good shot to play against the Bears. They need either Adoree or Desmond King back against Chicago.
Yeah, and the one thing they do have for Chicago, and Chicago's been up and down. They're 5-3. I think that they're a little bit of a phony football team. We'll find out if the Titans are a phony football team this week. I think it's a really good matchup. I think it is very telling. It doesn't have that big of implications in the AFC or the NFC because they're in different conferences. But I do think that the Bears have their fair share of problems, and those come on the offensive side of the football. Nick Foles, if you've been watching him play, especially this past week against New Orleans, he struggles to connect, right? He struggles to get his wide receivers the football when they need to. Errant passes. At times he reminds me of Jared Garantano, which is crazy. He just doesn't make the right throws. And then sometimes he does. So I'll be very, very curious on how the Bears and that offense, who have been up and down, kind of a yo-yo, try to exploit this Titans defense. If in fact, which unfortunately I do agree with you, Austin, I do think Jonathan Joseph will play this week. And it's just a numbers game because we don't know where Adoree Jackson is. And I think more importantly, who could take away playing time from Jonathan Joseph is Ty Smith, who was inactive this past Sunday.
Well, if you go back to the Steelers game, Ty Smith got the start outside opposite of Malcolm Butler on that first drive, and Ben Roethlisberger walked down the field and scored a touchdown throwing on Ty Smith.
Well, and then the next week, Joe Burrow did it to Jonathan Joseph.
Yeah, but no, the very next drive, Jonathan Joseph was in against the Steelers, and Ty Smith was on the bench. So, look, Ty Smith and Jonathan Joseph cannot play defensively if the Titans are going to fix their secondary.
Every other play, rotation, when you can substitute, maybe that's the key. I don't know. I mean, and so it goes to a puzzle that whoever the hell the defensive coordinator truly is that we don't know has got to solve is how do you figure out this position prior to Desmond King's official arrival on the roster and in the lineup?
The best case scenario is Adoree Jackson's back, right? And he and Butler are outside guys, which Adoree Jackson was getting some run this training camp as the nickel. because they had to replace Logan Ryan, but Christian Fulton became the primary nickel option there. And he's a young rookie. Chris Jackson's also played there some. So now you have Desmond King to be your primary nickel once he gets in the building. And now you have to have Adoree Jackson back. So your key outside guys are Butler and Adoree, King as your main nickel. And then when Fulton can return from injury, you have him as your fourth corner who can play both outside and inside. But until then, Chris Jackson then seems like a much more reasonable fourth option while you wait for Fulton to get back as well.
Yeah, and Steven brings up, well, they may have no choice. They might not start King until next Thursday night against the Colts. That's what I expect.
And that's the quick thing, too, for Adoree Jackson and for King. Is Adoree Jackson going to be able to be healthy enough to play Sunday, Thursday? Because if the guy hasn't played all season long.
I know. That's where I'm at with Adoree.
So what do? You don't play Adoree against the Bears and just cross your fingers and put him behind your back and hope you can get away with it so he can play against the Colts in a more important game and then get 10 days off before the Ravens game.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really tough because we didn't see Adoree Jackson go down. That was right before the season. They were in the bubble. I even tried out to find some information. I can't find out information of how it seemed. But I sure as hell, and I think a lot of Titans fans, when he went on IR for 3 weeks, the idea was he's just going to miss a couple of weeks to start the season. But all of a sudden, it's halfway through the season, and he's still not back.
The Titans never said anything about 3 weeks. That was
no. I'm not saying they said, but that was assumed, I think, by Titans fans is because of how IR is regulated now.
Yes, exactly. So I honestly feel like you don't risk Adoree against the Bears.
Hope you get 8 weeks. Like, that's not good.
It doesn't matter. Sunday, the most important game is week 10 against the Colts Thursday night. You're not going to risk Adoree Jackson in an NFC game right before you play on a Thursday night in a huge swing game in the AFC South.
Well, then that third down conversion rate ain't going anywhere on Sunday against the Chicago Bears.
Well, Chicago Bears don't have a quarterback like the last two the Titans have faced. The last three the Titans have faced.
The Titans have the same defense, so.
Yeah, and hopefully Desmond King can do something. A to Z Sports here live on this Tuesday. Zach, you do have one thing to watch for when it comes to King, and I'll let you get to that, but first tell the people about Calvin and Subtle.
Yeah, Calvin and Subtle is where you need to get your hardwood floors. 615-448-6414. That's 615-448-6414 or online at calvinandsubtle.com. Think outside the box this holiday season. Instead of buying the traditional gift, upgrade your house. And it's really easy. Rip up that carpet and upgrade, whether it's your playroom, your dining room, your living room, your kitchen. Say, look, we need to replace these hardwood floors with brand new hardwood floors that feel good, that make the environment different. You've been stuck in your house all of 2020. Well, all you have to do, and just talk to them. 615-448-6414. Say, hey, heard about you on A to Z Sports. Can I take a look at some of your samples? How can I upgrade? What do you got? What do you think? They will order the material once you pick out those hardwood floors within 1 to 2 weeks and install. So it's a very quick process. 615-448-6414.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday. Zach, you have one thing to watch for when Desmond King joins the Titans defensive backs. I'm curious because you've told me about this earlier this morning, our pre-show meeting, but that's all I know about it. It's just one thing.
So this is something of the history of Desmond King. And I'm not saying that it's going to turn into a negative. I just think you have to understand it. The reason why the Chargers actually traded him away is because he was very, very unhappy. He was late to meetings. He wasn't getting the playing time he deserved. Then he went to social media to complain. Anthony Lynn even came out and said, quote, sometimes a player just needs a fresh start. His time was up here. That was Anthony Lynn, head coach of the Chargers. I do think you can turn this into a positive to say Desmond King, a fresh start, a brand new place, a new look, a new jersey, a new coaching staff will kind of invigorate to him being his old self. But it's always I always think about players when they get unhappy, how they act, right?
Yeah, well, and it's what happened to Desmond King. He was an all-pro 2 seasons ago before this year. and he liked his trajectory as a slot corner. He was approaching the end of his rookie contract as a 5th-round pick, and he was made a 5th-round pick because he was viewed as not fast enough to be an outside guy and so not as valuable. And then the Chargers go and sign Chris Harris, who's a really good player, who was going to play the slot because Chris Harris is getting older. They signed him in free agency to take Desmond King's job. And Desmond King's like, hold on, why? Like Desmond King's been playing at a high level. In his opinion, why are they going out there and signing a replacement over him? Because Desmond King viewed that as, I'm going into last year of my rookie deal. They don't want me here after this year. So I believe that's kind of the mentality that Desmond King had, wrong or right.
Why did they not want him?
Well, because obviously a 5th-round pick is cheap as hell. Paying a 5th-round pick is not nearly as cheap. So the Chargers are probably thinking,
no, Austin, that doesn't make any sense. A 5th-round pick that has played well is a dream scenario to re-sign him if you feel he can be a part of your football team.
They're probably thinking that, we can go find Desmond King again.
No, that's really hard to do. We know those guys don't just fall out of the sky. To make a 5th-round pick hit is very difficult, and they did.
Jon Robinson's done that in the 5th round.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that often. Okay.
Well, he found Avery Williams in the 5th round, and then immediately after he left, he found Jayon Brown to replace him in the 5th round. Same position. So you can find 5th-round value, and so they clearly did not see Desmond King as a long-term fit in LA with the Chargers defense, because going into last year, the deal, they went out there and signed Chris Harris to be that guy.
I understand that. All I'm bringing up is his actions and how he handled it within the organization, right? It was disgruntled. People get unhappy. I'm not like saying that is that's like a glaring, terrible thing about him. I'm not saying that, right? I'm looking at what happened and then how he handled it.
How did he handle it, in your opinion?
I thought that, again, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do think that it needs to be recognized when a guy like that comes into your facility. I think that things can work out. I think best case scenario is pretty easy. He plays really well the rest of the year, and they re-sign him to a deal, and they just traded and found a new corner. That's great. But also, if he comes in, there's a worst-case scenario to everything that you do. I just want to make sure everybody understands that the head coach of the Chargers, Anthony Lynn, did not see eye to eye with Desmond King, and Desmond King stopped working. That's what he did. He didn't work harder. He kind of shut down. He showed up late to meetings. He was not there. He was not a counted on teammate at times because of that. I'm just bringing that up. Doesn't mean that he's going to be the same way in Nashville, but right. It does need to be recognized.
Puka says Austin's wrong, Zach's right. I'm not saying I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I was bringing what I think the viewpoint of Desmond King could be in his situation. But
actions speak louder than words, Austin.
Exactly. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying I believe it looks like Desmond King felt slighted because they signed a replacement for him in free agency, and that probably pissed him off because he was going into a contract year when he was not going to be playing.
Well, that's competition.
I agree with you. This is not my opinion. This is just how I believe the situation played out. Desmond King lost his job in a contract year. He got pissed. That's what I'm saying. Right or wrong, that's what I think happened. And so now what do the Titans get? A motivated Desmond King with the same expiring contract, an opportunity to go play snaps. So if you're the Titans in the situation, positive.
I think that this will work out more than I think that it won't, but we have to tell the story, right? This is not just a rah-rah, shish-boom-bah Titans podcast. That's not how this works. And it will never be how it works. We're never going to just blow roses up these players and coaches' ass because we have Titans fans on the line. I just was bringing up the real story of this disgruntledness between Anthony Lynn and Desmond King and the Chargers to know what you're getting yourself into now that they've traded. I actually believe Anthony Lynn when he said, quote, I believe sometimes a player just needs a fresh start.
Sure.
And this could be it. This could be the best possible scenario. So that's the one thing that I'm looking at. Does Desmond King, with a really good opportunity to play right out of the gates and get back to 2018, to say, I am super motivated and I'm going to go earn this contract in the last half of this year?
Cards Titans Grit says chip on his shoulder. If he realizes his opportunity to play and get paid, it'll be a success. Darius says, and he gets to play on a contending team, not a rebuilding team like the Chargers. Dom says, always a risk with a trade. Hardly ever trade players who want to be there. True.
Well, the problem with the Chargers is they get up, they can't hold a lead. Herbert's been doing outstanding. He has more touchdown passes in his first 7 games than Patrick Mahomes did. Those for more yards too. But the defense can't hold a lead.
Yeah. Sawyer says Hurd King was a beast in college. Yeah, at Iowa, that guy was a freak. He was getting interceptions all over the place in the Big Ten. And I saw Teron Davenport of ESPN tweet out that he remembered talking to Titans DB Amani Hooker, also from Iowa, who cited Desmond King as a guy, a young Amani Hooker looked up to. And so I do think at least there's some familiarity there with a couple of Hawkeyes in the back end.
I personally think that usually it works, or at least in my life or in the history of A to Z sports, when you leave a place you're unhappy at and you go do something and maybe work for yourself or you work for somebody that cares about you, you thrive. Just look at Austin and I when we left the radio station. Buck Rising left that same radio station. I think he's done pretty damn good since leaving there.
He's an award winner.
Right? He didn't win any damn awards at that radio station. So new place, new face. I think that's
okay. Titans fans, just think of Desmond King as Buck Rising, and then everything's going to work out, right?
He may win an award.
I think we figured it out. All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Tuesday.
We don't have a defensive coordinator either.
No. I think I've got proof that A.J. Brown's nowhere close to reaching a ceiling as NFL wideout. It's something that was brought up yesterday on social media here with this proof about A.J. Brown. So an A.J. Brown topic coming now. But first, let me tell you guys about Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville area. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. So many different ways Renters Warehouse can help you out financially during this pandemic. If you've lost your job, lost income, you need extra cash flow, renterswarehouse.com can help you out in several different ways. Just go check them out, renterswarehouse.com.
A to Z Sports, don't forget, if you do bet, use our promo code to help you out at mybookie.ag. Code MyTitans, double your first deposit. That's hooking you up. The sports gambling has really taken over Tennessee, obviously, of recent. Code MyTitans, double your first deposit right there.
So, Zach, this was brought up by Mike Clay of ESPN, where, look, A.J. Brown, quiet day yesterday or Sunday against the Bengals, just 4 catches, under 30 yards, did have a touchdown, which was nice in the fourth quarter. But Mike Clay brought this up. He tweeted this: turns out the Bengals didn't shadow A.J. Brown with William Jackson, only because Brown just lined up on Jackson's side on nearly every snap. That seemed like a pretty inexplicable mistake by Tennessee. 24 yards in the upset loss. And Mike Clay added, not sure I've ever seen a team intentionally create a shadow on its own number one wide receiver by the opposing standouts number one corner. But that's exactly what the Titans did. And it made me think, A.J. Brown absolutely was on the left side of the offense the whole game. And now Teron says that's incorrect. And then there were multiple times he lined up on the right side and in the slot. And Mike Clay did not say every time. He said, I believe it was nearly every snap, which is not every snap, but he left some wiggle room in there, but nearly every snap. I think the majority of A.J. Brown's success is on the left side of the offense. And you look at the slant routes, the plays that he takes off and goes for big touchdowns against the Steelers. Slant was left side slant. Even last year when he had big plays against the Jags and against the Texans late in the year, left side crossing routes. That's where A.J. Brown goes to. Now, I also thought of it this way. he hurt his right knee, right? The bone bruise was in his right knee. Maybe him playing the left side is easier on that knee where he's cutting inside off of his left knee, which has been his healthy knee. So A.J. Brown is far from a finished product as an NFL wide receiver, and that's a great thing for the Titans because the guy is still super dynamic. But it's no secret that he's not the best route runner in the NFL or even close to it. He really is a crossing route guy and a movement fluid route guy. He's not exactly great on the stop routes yet. But again, I think A.J. Brown is definitely more comfortable on the left side, and maybe that's a mistake by Arthur Smith playing him on that side more often than not, whether it's a 2-to-1 ratio, a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 ratio. He's on the left a lot more than he is anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's what our guy TD brings up. He says there were 10 to 12 snaps where he wasn't on the left. There were 25 snaps on the left. So that's the discrepancy there. And we know that TD does his homework on that. I think here's my overall – and I think this is what Mike Clay was bringing up because I would rather him be like Tehran and be very specific and tell us those things instead of nearly, because those numbers don't really say nearly to me. I think the issue was of targets in the first half. Who was the football going to? The balls were going to Corey Davis, and he ended up having a good game. But here's my issue with Corey Davis versus A.J. Brown. They're two different wide receivers, but one has earned the trust and the respect in A.J. Brown to turn a little into a lot. Corey Davis, and I've told you this multiple weeks, Austin, and we watched the games together live from the Mainstay pregame, halftime, postgame show. And every single time I see Corey Davis catch the ball, I turn to you, I turn to Austin, I go, it seems like Corey Davis, once he catches it, it's like he's trying to get out of bounds. Every time A.J. Brown catches the ball, he goes upfield. And that's something that I said even before the Titans drafted him. That was one of his stellar attributes. And so what? It gives you a $128 through the air and Corey Davis having a pretty damn good game. But even on A.J. Brown's touchdown catch, that should have been a 3-yard gain and goal to go. But instead, because of his playmaking ability, he got the ball into the end zone because that's who he is. So I think this, and I don't want to speak for Mike Clay, but this was more about showcasing the issue of if you're an offensive coordinator, there's two guys that have to touch the ball throughout the course of the game. Number one is Derrick Henry. He's got to get his. Your offense won't move without him. But number two is you have to get A.J. Brown touches early to get his confidence up and for the ability to spark the big play. It's not Corey Davis. Corey Davis is banana bread, and we're figuring out if it's going to be good.
It is good banana bread.
Trash.
It's good banana bread.
But that banana bread won't lead you to the promised land. A.J. Brown will.
Well, not
and that I think is the overall issue for me is you have to find a way, no matter what it is to get A.J. Brown involved in the offense early and often.
Yes, A.J. Brown is the better wide receiver. A.J. Brown's a better football player than Corey Davis. You shouldn't be arguing that. Now, I think it's true that Corey Davis has a deeper and more extensive route tree than A.J. Brown has at this point in his career. Corey Davis came out of college more of a route runner than A.J. Brown did. A.J. Brown's a freak. A.J. Brown, yak God. Like the guy is it's so hard to tackle A.J. Brown. And I think his last 2 touchdowns show that, running away from people, just flat out running away from them, and then spinning out and breaking other tackles like he did against Cincinnati. But Corey Davis is physical. I saw Brent saying, because he was responding to you saying Corey Davis runs out of bounds, saying he's not physical. Corey Davis is physical. He needs to be more. But he needs to be more physical. He needs to be more physical. But I think Corey Davis ends up going out of bounds because that's typically Corey Davis catches the ball. I feel like, and I don't have the numbers on this, I feel like he catches it outside the hash marks going towards the sideline. Like that's where Corey Davis's catches come from.
But the difference is A.J. Brown has the ability to stop and go upfield. And
A.J. Brown has more of a yak mentality of I'm not going to be denied of running where I want to run.
And for this offense, because they're run base first, they have to have those wide receivers that have an upfield mentality. You know who else does? Jonnu Smith. And they put him in different situations. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying it is the mindset. And I just feel, this is just a feel. I don't know this to be certain. Corey Davis hasn't addressed this, but as I watch the games, I feel like when Corey Davis catches the football, his trajectory leads him out of bounds, but he takes that out.
Well, because and I think it's risk injury for 1 to 5 yards or stay healthy. I mean, that's true. I don't have a problem with that in this day and age of the NFL. Look, obviously in key situations in the third or fourth quarter when something's on the line, go get the first down. Go get that line to gain. But if you're out there and you've already gained a first down and you're near midfield and you can either dive forward or spin back in bounds and risk getting a hit to gain 3 yards, or just kind of go out of bounds and live to play another down, just live to play another down. Don't try to force things. And I think Corey Davis is good at that. Now, they're different wide receivers. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Corey Davis, more possession. A.J. Brown, more explosive. Perfect. You want different types of guys in your wide receiver group, and Adam Humphries and Khalif Raymond are also different styles too, just like Jonnu and Ferkser and Pruitt are all different styles. That's a good thing. The versatility is there. I think A.J. Brown, Tress responded to my comment that A.J. Brown has a limited route tree because he's coming off a knee injury. Knee injury or not, A.J. Brown right now has a limited route tree compared to what he's going to have in 2 years. A.J. Brown needs more time to refine his route running, especially when it comes to stop routes and directional changing routes, where right now he's more of a fluid route runner because that's how he creates separation, because he's got speed. So
and that's what he learned from at Ole Miss, because the offense and the
elementary
lackluster defenses that he was playing against.
Well, what is that Ole Miss offense? Back then, it was more elementary. It was rely on your physical ability and pace.
And it's get upfield because you can, right? Yeah. There's a benefit of that. And DK Metcalf, let's compare the two because they were in the same offense. You know, DK Metcalf is a different wide receiver, as we know, than either of the guys we're talking about, but he has that upfield mentality as well. And I think that is bred from the Ole Miss offense that they had that was dynamic. Now, it didn't yield a lot of wins, but it has helped A.J. Brown because that is where he's come from, and he's taken it to the next level, which you love to see because this franchise has never seen anything like A.J. Brown.
No.
Kenny Britt, no thanks. Justin Hunter, no thanks. Dorial Green-Beckham, no thanks. Justin McCarron, no thanks. I don't want any of those guys. A.J. Brown is a different breed, and his ceiling is very high.
And Rob says at some point we have to stop babying A.J. Brown. Nobody's babying A.J. Brown. I think we're just having a conversation about, I think it's a good thing he's not anywhere close to his ceiling. And he's got 5 touchdowns in 5 games.
Joseph brings up DK Metcalf can't run routes either. Well, it doesn't really matter when Russell Wilson drops it into a bucket right in your bread basket whenever he damn well pleases.
Well, here's the thing is if DK Metcalf can't run like a 15-yard comeback that efficient, then don't ask him to run that 15-yard comeback. If DK Metcalf is elite at certain routes, have him run them because guess what? Russell Wilson can throw them. A.J. Brown's the same way. He's elite at the slant. He's elite at the deep end. He's elite at the drag.
And
that's what he's running.
And what did we see against Cincinnati, Austin? We saw that the connection between Tannehill and A.J. Brown, it kind of went a little too far when Tannehill admitted his mistake where he didn't have the physical ability to throw that football. And the Bengals closed, and it cost them points. And points in the first quarter, honestly, it cost them the game because they were playing come from behind for most of the game because the kicker can't kick. And so that it snowballed, but that was the trust of AJ was open, but then all of a sudden he wasn't. And that's just the NFL, right? That welcome. That's what Gucci DiNucci found out on Sunday night. Welcome to the NFL. You can't juke these guys. Joe Burrow did a hell of a job on Sunday juking guys, but It's just a different speed that you can't make those type of mistakes unless you have that arm. And Tannehill, he doesn't claim to have that arm.
Well, Brent says, I heard someone say AJ should have come back to the ball and get it, not just stand there. Look, that's the rule. Come back to the ball, but that play, you don't fault. There's no way you can fault AJ Brown on not coming back to the ball.
And he was open when he raised his hand. And then all of a sudden he wasn't.
It was also, in my opinion, the wrong throw. It was wrong to throw to AJ Brown, but how he threw to AJ Brown was the wrong throw. That ball should have been either going over the goalpost or on AJ Brown's fingertips. Not a rocket, but more of a lofted over the defenders where AJ Brown was more like alley-oop throw.
Or if you have the arm strength, and only 3 quarterbacks have the arm strength. There's only 3 quarterbacks, I think, that could have made that throw. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, or Brett Favre. Jay Cutler would have gotten it picked, guaranteed. He has the arm strength, but he doesn't have the accuracy. But that's the only way that you can fall back like that and fit it in between those defenders. And Tannehill just doesn't have that kind of arm strength. But that was so uncharacteristic of Tannehill because he's so good at making the right play and putting himself in position to make throws that he knows he can make. That's why he's been so successful the last year plus, is because he has put himself and thrown to receivers, not to force guys, just because it's the right read.
It was a bad decision first and a bad throw second.
Fair.
Because if you're gonna make the bad decision, at least make the right throw. And that should have been either way over AJ's head where he had a chance to go up and get it, or don't throw it. And so that's that there. Chad says the Titans need a nasty type wide receiver. You've got it with AJ Brown. I don't know what you're watching.
I'll be curious to see, and this is a conversation for another day because we're still in season stuff. Corey Davis ain't going to be here next year. He's gone. Who are they going to what kind of a receiver are they going to replace Corey Davis with? And again, I don't want to get into this because it's future talk, but we'll have a lot of time to discuss in the offseason. Are they going to get that nasty wide receiver that they mentioned, or is it going to be a different type? I'd be curious.
I feel like they need another big body. And somebody mentioned Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith weighs 170 pounds. So I don't know if
you know what I want?
What?
I want the swag show. I want them to get another wide receiver that has just as much swag as AJ Brown, and they feed off of each other.
You want like the Bash Brothers,
nasty boys, but call them like the Nasty Boys or something. Just something where we can just take it and run with it, make T-shirts and stickers and all that stuff, and just all get on board with the Nasty Boys.
Right.
That would be dynamic. It's what the Falcons tried to do with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, except for the Falcons blow.
Titans Feder says, what's wrong with keeping Corey Davis?
Well,
he's going to make –
he's not worth it.
He's going to make so much money, and the Titans cannot afford that in the situation.
I don't know how much money he's going to make, but –
he's going to make way more money than the Titans can pay him. So Teron's saying his guy is Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State. I mean, I don't watch.
He's played. I've watched one of their games. I watched a little bit of Texas this past week, but I'd like to. Maybe that's a guy to watch. Thank you, TD. Now I got another. We got to find the nasty boy. Who's the other nasty boy?
Chad says, I mean nasty, Austin. Like by very physical and tall, and don't give an F attitude. Are you not watching AJ Brown, Chad? Like, what do you think AJ Brown is? Like, okay, maybe he's not as tall as you would like. He's like 6'1", but the guy clearly does not give an F.
Who's
attitude.
The nastiest wide receiver in the league?
Currently?
Yeah, and all encompassing, right? Good attitude, swag.
I mean, who would you say?
My personal, this is my personal opinion. I think it's DK Metcalf. I think he is the nastiest wide receiver
Julio.
Seen.
I mean, Julio is a freak as well.
And it's unfortunate he just gets lost.
Yeah. But like I don't know why
I think Michael Thomas, if he plays.
Did you see
my fantasy bench?
Yeah, a lot of DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of
DeAndre Hopkins is a great one.
Devontae Adams, really good. Mike Evans. I think the flavor of the month is DK Metcalf for this anthem.
But I think in a lot of DeAndre Hopkins, I think is 1A, 1B with DK because Hopkins has turned that, obviously with Kyler Murray getting better and their defense improving, and they need a couple of guys back. But DeAndre Hopkins doesn't drop footballs and constantly wants the football. That's nasty.
I just don't know what Chad is watching with A.J. Brown that he's not saying that everybody else sees.
Ooh, and we got some good ones. And TD brings up Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. You know I'm a Mike Evans fan. And Keenan Allen just doesn't get enough play because he's lost in the second city of L.A.
Yeah. A to Z Sports, second team in L.A. A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday. Zach, it's that time. It is time for Takes Too Long trivia. We need your help. We absolutely need your help, guys. Currently, we are 71.1% on our trivia throughout this season. We're 42-17. We've got 10 trivia questions coming, and we need you guys to hang around because we're going to need some help from y'all. But before we get to our Takes Too Long trivia on Tuesday, Zach, telling people about Tucker Agency.
Yeah, TuckerTN.com. You can save money, and this is why we partnered up with them. We did this at the start of the pandemic to give you an opportunity to put money back into your wallet. National's independent insurance agency, you probably don't even know what you pay for your insurance. You have car insurance if you have a car. You have homeowner's insurance if you have a home. You should have renter's insurance if you rent. You should have life insurance if you have children or a wife, right? You got to protect yourself. Well, protect yourself by going to TuckerTN.com or emailing Will@TuckerTN.com. Say, hey, heard about you on A to Z Sports. How do I save money on my insurance? It's really the easiest email that you're going to send all day. His team will go through, look at your policy and say, hey, look, this is where we can switch some things up. This is where we can save you some money. The average customer that emails Will@TuckerTN.com saves 20% on their insurance. That's a couple $100 back into your pocket. You just don't even realize it. TuckerTN.com. That's Will@TuckerTN.com. Email them today.
All right, everybody. A to Z Sports Takes Too Long trivia on a Tuesday. And Orlando says, let's go, fellas. No Googling on the show today. But, Zach, we need to get to 8-2 today because we're 42-17. That's 71.1%. I think we've gone 7-3 the last 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So it's time to go 8-2. So let's get this thing fired up.
All right, let's start. And we'll start with the softball because I already know what it is. But the question is, and again, I can't see these. I just read them and then I got to click to see the answer. But I got a feeling we're going to know this. What professional sport did Pat Mahomes' father play?
All right, Major League Baseball, 1-0, baby.
That's right. And do you know where he played?
Several teams, like the Astros, right?
The Minnesota Twins. That's what I remember him as.
I thought he played, well, I think he played several teams. But anyway, baseball. So we're 1-0.
1-0. We move right along. All right. In 2015, who got back their job as Washington Nationals closer? Now, you and I's baseball knowledge is not that great, but maybe it was the Mets.
In 2015, so they lost their job as the Washington Nationals closer.
So
Alex,
here it is. I'll read it again. In 2015, who got back their job as the Washington Nationals closer?
Papelbon from Alex Doherty is a really good answer. Jonathan Papelbon?
That is correct. That's right. Papelbon, who went to Mississippi State at Fail State. But you're right, because that was his kind of second stint because he played for the Red Sox.
Papelbon, because I saw some Strasburg answers. No, closer. Strasburg's not a closer. It's Papelbon.
Because he got his job back.
Yes. I think Papelbon's the answer.
All right. I feel confident.
I love Anthony's comment. I forget his name, but I can see him because that helps everybody.
Well, I was that with Sean Payton.
Papelbon. Let's go Papelbon.
Wrong.
What?
Drew Storen.
What? No, bull. BS. I'm calling BS on that stuff.
I mean, you can't.
That's stupid.
That's like telling Alex Trebek he's a phony. I mean, that's wrong.
Dumb. That's dumb as hell.
We got it wrong.
Why would that be a trivia question? That's so stupid.
That's the point.
God, screw that question. All right.
Well, if we had any big Nats fans, they would know.
All right. So I don't like that. That's a terrible, terrible question.
Next question.
1-1.
Rocky start, 1-1. The XFL was a collaboration between television network NBC and what other media giant? The XFL was a collaboration between television network NBC and what other media giant?
I mean, the WWE.
It has to be the WWE.
Yeah, that's it.
This is labeled as a medium question.
Well, it's wrestling because it was Ebersol and McMahon.
I'm going WWE. That has to be the answer, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yes, it is the WWE.
And Kelkins, is WWE a media entity? Hell yeah, it is. Absolutely. Okay, so we're 2-1.
All right, so we got that. Here's one. Which former NBA player went by the moniker Chocolate Thunder? We have to have somebody that knows this. I'll repeat the question.
Do you not?
Which former NBA player went by the moniker Chocolate Thunder?
I know Tehran's still in here.
Is it Jackie Moon? that feels like a tropics name. Daryl Dawkins.
I knew Tehran would be in this. We got a lot of Daryl Dawkins coming in.
Christopher, you are incorrect. That is the Rain Man. Sean Kemp is the Rain Man.
The cocaine man.
Right? So the cocaine. There's another joke on there, but I think Dawkins is the correct answer. It is Daryl Chocolate Thunder Dawkins, 1957 to 2015.
Good deal. Good deal. So we're 3-1. 3-1.
All right. This is an easy one. A softball. Let's keep rolling. A touchdown is worth how many points in football?
6.
That is correct. 6 points for a touchdown.
Right. 4-1, baby. Rolling through here. Our Takes Too Long Trivia Tuesday. But first, we'll continue with the second half of this. Let me tell you about the Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness for one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout, absolutely free. Make sure you go check them out. It's a great workout. I love it. It's faster than the trivia segment we do every Tuesday. Mandu.com. It's easy in your joints. So if you've got a bad back, bad knees, bad shoulders, you can't lift weights like you used to, or you don't have time to lift weights like you used to, like I didn't, Mandu.com. Check them out. Your first workout, absolutely free.
All right. Things are going to get heated up. We got a couple of golf questions, an Olympic question, an NBA question, 2 NBA questions. So let's start with a golf question. This is going to be tough. How old was Hale Irwin when he won the 1990 U.S. Open Golf Championship?
Stupid question.
How old was Hale Irwin when he won the 1990 U.S. Open Golf Championship? We're going to need some help from a lot of people on this, but we're looking for the age of Hale Irwin in 1990.
No, this is where we lose. We lose. This is our second loss. And I'm with Paulie D. Who cares? Like, who cares about this?
But isn't that the point? Not everybody cares what you care about. You're playing sourpuss on this. You're playing little boy that gets mad when he doesn't get his way.
No, I think these are stupid questions. It's a pointless question. That's not something that anybody cares about to have as a trivia question.
That's why it's hard. It is labeled as a hard trivia question.
So 1990 U.S. Open, Hale Irwin.
All right. So how about this? I don't know. You don't know. And it doesn't look like anybody else knows. Let's compromise and I get a guess and you get a guess as far as the age.
Okay. But there's like, I don't, who is Hale Irwin?
I think 62. I've seen more.
But here's why I hate this trivia question, because it's making us assume that it's old, because we don't know who Hale Irwin is.
I'm going with the people. I'm guessing 62, and that's what I've seen that different times from.
I think it's late 40s. It's way too old.
Okay,
I want to say like 48. 48's my guess.
All right, so 62 and 48. If either of those are correct, we'll get it
62
right.
is way too old. There's no way a 62-year-old is going to win the U.S. Open because old in the PGA Tour is late 40s.
What is your guess?
48.
You were 3 off.
45.
45.
All right. So there's that waste of time. Now we can move on.
Don't be a sad little boy.
No, I think it's
You're being the snot-nosed kid at recess. Turn that frown upside down and saddle up and play.
Okay.
You're going to timeout.
Nick, I'm saddling up and I'm playing. Like I had a way better guess than you did. It was 62.
But we're both wrong.
Yes, you were way off. Way off.
It doesn't matter.
All right, so what are we now? 4 and 2. That was our 6th question.
Yes.
So
we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
All right, we got to go 4-0.
All right. With the 4th pick in the 2001 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls selected a player straight out of high school. Who was that? I think that it is Tyson Chandler. Or is it Kwame Brown?
Kwame Brown.
One of those two.
Kwame Brown was the number 1 overall pick by Michael Jordan in the Charlotte at the time.
Both came out of high school, though. That's what I'm basing my.
It's not.
I think it's
no.
Curry.
Eddie Curry's right. That's absolutely right. Jarrell's right. It's Eddie Curry. Absolutely correct. Tyson Chandler's younger than that. Eddie Curry's right.
Eddie Curry?
Yes.
What is Eddie Curry doing now? And you're right, Dustin. Yeah, Kwame went to the Wizards. You're right.
Yeah.
But Tyson, it's either Eddie Curry or Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, because Jordan drafted Kwame Brown before he. Yeah.
That was probably the connection.
It's
Eddie Curry?
Yes, Eddie Curry, absolutely.
Eddie Curry.
Good job, Jarrell. Attaboy. A lot of you guys jumped on board with that too.
4th pick.
Yeah.
4th pick in the 2001 NBA draft.
All right, so we're 5 and 2. We got to get these last 3.
This is pretty interesting. Eddie Curry is the 4th pick of the 2001 NBA draft. The Bulls also acquired the 2nd pick, Tyson Chandler, who was straight out of high school.
So that was the same draft?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I guess Tyson Chandler just had a way better career, longer career than Eddie Curry did.
All right, here's a hard one. In what year was the first modern Olympic Games held?
Didn't we have this already?
Uh-uh.
I think we did. Because we did have this
because it was this century. Was that the same question?
We already had this. I think it was either 20 or 28 or something like that.
Okay, so we'll move on and we'll find another.
We already had that. So yeah, see,
1896 was the correct answer. This does not count, so that doesn't go towards it. We did already have this. All right. Which famous golf player is nicknamed Lefty?
Okay, 1 golf player. What golf?
That's how it says.
Okay, but that would be Phil Mickelson.
We're going Phil. It has to be Phil.
Yes,
but that's the question. It's which famous golf player is nicknamed Lefty?
Yeah, it's Phil Mickelson. I mean, I answered it already.
Phil Mickelson is correct.
Who's actually not left-handed. He's right-handed, but he mirrored his father's golf swing left-handed.
That's spitting facts right here. All right, so 2 more. We have 1 more under this realm, and then I got to go find another one.
Yeah.
When was the first year the three-point shot was introduced to the NBA? This is a very hard question as it's labeled. But in what year was the first year the three-point shot was introduced to the NBA?
I want to say 84. 83, 84 is my first guess.
Was it the 80s?
Maybe that's college.
So let's think about this. I watched. They still have the 3-point.
I think it's because Tehran says 77. I was hoping Tehran would be in here. I was really banking on Tehran's answer.
I mean, I trust Tehran.
Excuse me. I think it was 84 in college basketball because I do know this. There were 3 college basketball programs who had hit a 3-pointer in every game since the 3-point line. Vanderbilt now out because Jerry Stackhouse couldn't get it done a couple of years ago. but Princeton and UNLV have hit a 3-pointer in every game. But
so we got a lot of we got more 79s than anything, and we also have Jamie coming in and says I think 75 because of the ABA. But 79 is the most popular answer, though.
It's tough.
So here's a good point. Magic was drafted in 79. He won a championship in his rookie year. But I don't know. I was dead. I wasn't even a gleam in my father's eye.
You weren't dead. You were just not alive. Jarrell says, trust Jarrell.
Jarrell has steered us the right way.
All right. At 79?
79. The correct answer is 1979. Why? Because of Jamie. He says, through its rival and later partner, the ABA had been using the three-point shot since 1969. The NBA didn't adopt this feature until 79, 3 years after it merged with the ABA. So here's that together.
So here's where I was thinking 83 or 84 because Dom's comment, Jordan did not have a three-point line in college. So I think it was 83 or 84 for the college game to get the three-point line. So, all right, we have got two more.
We have one more.
One more. So we are currently 7-2. This is it. We've got to have this question the correct way.
All right, let's go. We have not had this, but it goes with the nickname. We're counting on TD and some others, okay? Because I don't know this. Big Smooth was the nickname of which 20th century NBA player? Big
Smooth. In the 20th century? That's such a random way to say it.
It says Big Smooth was the nickname of which 20th century NBA player? I love this question. I don't know what it is. We do need some help. But who was Big Smooth? I mean, Sam Perkins.
That's a good question. Or good answer is Sam Perkins. Do we have multiple Sam Perkins, Titans for life, and Ronnie with Sam Perkins?
Who was Big Smooth?
Didn't we interview Sam Perkins back in the day after Dean Smith passed away? I think we did.
Yeah, we did. We've talked to old Sam because I love Sam Perkins was on those Sonics teams that I love with Hershey Hawkins, Nate McMillan.
You should know this.
It does sound right. Sam Perkins makes the most sense because he had that cool, calm demeanor. He was a big man who could shoot three-pointers. He had that high arcing shot. I think Sam Perkins.
Trez says Bill Walton was undoubtedly Big Smooth with the ladies.
That was Wilt Chamberlain. That was Wilt Chamberlain.
I think Perkins is correct.
All right. Our final answer is Sam Perkins.
Go to 82.
Sam Big Smooth Perkins.
We got it. We got it. We went 8-2. We went 8.
Have we gone 8? We've only gone 8-2 once.
Correct. Early on in this. So now we are 50-19 overall in our Trivia Tuesday. So I'm going to get our new percentage here in a second. 50-19 is our new record. So that would be.
We're back to 80%, baby. That's tough.
We gained
hard on that.
We're at 72.4. That's a big deal. Big deal. We had to have that because we had to stay above 70%. We're getting too close to that line. So 72.4. That's where we're at for 7 weeks.
That was some hard one. The closer thing, I thought we got right, but
I was really pissed off about that.
Oh yeah, we know. Yeah. But we got through that and we finished strong. We finished smooth.
We did. That's absolutely correct. All right, guys. Great Tuesday show. Buck Rising back tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. Also, don't forget our A to Z Sports Podcast Network, Big Orange Podcast, Buck 615 Sessions, and then tomorrow a Tighten Up Podcast as well. Wherever you get your podcast, the A to Z Sports Podcast Network. We'll see you guys on a Wednesday morning after the trade deadline. So a big day today, right? The NFL. So we'll see how that plays out. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.
Adios.